Good morning, boys and girls. Today's reading lesson is going to be about rereading a book to learn more and to make it sound better as we say it, okay? So yesterday I read this book to you. Do you remember in the afternoon I read A Bed for Winter? I'm not going to go through and read the entire book to you again because we've already heard it and I don't want the video to be too long, but what I'm going to show you is that when you go back and read any kind of book, but especially a nonfiction book, you are going to learn more every time you read it. So there's a lot of benefits or a lot of good things that come out of rereading a book, okay? So what I want you to work on today, and I'm just going to go through and point out some things that you might not have noticed yesterday, but what I want you to work on today is going back onto your Raz Kids, finding a nonfiction book that you've already read, okay? And I want you to read it again, but I want you to read it to somebody. And as you're reading it to somebody, if you notice that hey, wait a minute, I didn't know that, or you find something new, I want you to tell that person, either whether it be your parent or your pet or a stuffed animal, I want you to tell them, hey, did you know that a dormouse lives in a meadow? I didn't know that. Okay, so you're gonna work on rereading a book. So you should be a little bit familiar with the words. You're going to reread it to see if you learn new information and to see if you can read it with a little more movement in your voice like we talked about a few months ago, okay? So I'm just going to skip around a little bit, a couple pages in this book to show you. Okay, so here was one of them. A queen wasp sleeps under an oak stump. She has squeezed through a crack in the rotten wood, but a crack in an oak stump is too small for a dormouse. So that's teaching me that if a wasp can fit in there and it's too small for the dormouse, that must mean that a dormouse is a little bit bigger than a wasp. That's something that this is teaching me that I didn't realize the first time. It's also teaching me that she squeezed through a crack in the rotten wood. So they find old things to sleep in, okay? Those are just two quick things that I read now that I didn't pick up the first time that I read it, okay? And if you notice, I didn't read it like this. A queen wasp sleeps under, right? We want to move our voice a little bit as we read so that it doesn't sound so boring, okay? Let's see if we can learn anything else new from this. A golden-eyed toad sleeps under a stone. It is muddy and wet, and the toad's skin is cold, but it's too wet for a dormouse under a stone. The dormouse looks in and then scurries by. So that tells me that a dormouse doesn't like to be wet or cold, right? It also tells me that maybe they don't live necessarily where tree frogs live. Maybe they live somewhere else. And just by looking at this picture, this picture is teaching me that these golden-eyed toads have really bumpy skin and really bumpy, they're kind of gross looking to be honest, but I didn't really notice that before because I was so focused on reading the words that I didn't get a good look at the picture. And now I know something else about golden-eyed toads. Okay, so really what the goal is for today is to find a nonfiction book that you've already read and to read through it again for one, to get better at reading out loud and to get better at moving your voice and to see if you learn anything new by rereading it, because that's the main goal of rereading, whether it's nonfiction or even a regular story. You might pick up on things in a regular story if you're rereading it. Okay, my darlings, so give that a try today. Log on to your Raz Kids, get a nonfiction book up, and I want you to read it to somebody, because sometimes when you're explaining it to somebody, you realize more things. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't notice that before. Okay, so I want you to give that a try today, and I will see you soon. Bye.